Hey there, Deeters. Welcome to another Stacking Deets. And Crystal, we are not here today. It sounds like we're here. People are hearing our voices, but we have the week off, and we're going to give people a little treat instead.
Yes. So our old buddy Alan is back. So Alan's new podcast, House Money Podcast, they interviewed me for episode number 10. And the name of the episode is Creative Ways to House Hack and Buying Lots in Chicago for $1. So enjoy their podcast, and we're going to give it a listen.
Yes. Alan Corey, our former co-host, he was working on this project at the same time he's working on Stacking Deeds. Part of the reason why Alan had to leave us was he had so many. I think he's on 3 different podcasts, Crystal. So
that's a lot.
A lot of stuff going on. But
so,
you're going to hear Crystal's story. So let's press play.
Well, I just want to say we've got our first podcast review. So congrats, everyone. I'll read it here. It says, congrats on your new podcast, Lauren and Alan. It's been wonderful learning from you. The episode I listened to had a special guest at the end. I don't remember his name, but keep up the good work.
Did you have your child write that?
No, that review was left by A. Corey, but thank you, A. Corey.
A. Corey is going to be banned from this partnership and this show going forward, so it'll be the Tom and Lauren show.
We actually didn't somebody actually send a message that said they really liked the pod? Somebody actually was really nice about it.
Yeah, he's like, I love listening to it because it feels like the three of us, maybe Lauren and I more so than Alan, are actually having a good time and having a conversation and talking about things that affect us. Alan pipes in with some troll comments every now and then. Yeah, it adds a little bit of color. But I do actually enjoy, and I did just listen to this while I was at the gym on Sunday. So, yeah.
I think we pulled our audience and we ranked who you like the best. It's not going to be you, Tom, unfortunately.
I think my stories add the color which is needed to this. Because if we didn't talk about branches on roofs, if we didn't talk about the dog having diarrhea, if we didn't talk about the Airbnb guest or Loretta in the attic, it would be a bland real estate investing show. I think that those stories sprinkled in are what add the color that make this a unique show and not a bro show.
This is Real Estate Investing with House Money. Hosts Lauren Keene Aumond, Tom Brickman, and Alan Corey started investing in their 20s and thanks to real estate was able to leave the corporate world in their 30s. They are on a mission to help launch first-generation real estate investors with all things house money.
Welcome back to another House Money Podcast episode. We're going to kick this one off by talking about how to house hack without roommates for the House Money Weekly segment, Blog 111. Then I'm going to talk with Crystal Hammond. She's an engineer, podcast host, and real estate investor. Really good interview, I think, is coming our way. Really looking forward to speaking with her. I've been on her podcast before. And then we've got Tea Time with Tom, and we're going to talk about collecting items and how stuff weighs us down. Also, we're going to hear from Jasmine at Jasmine Mortgage Team, and she's going to answer the question, what can investors do to make getting a loan easier? Looking forward to this one. All right, what do we have in store for House Money Weekly this week?
In today's House Money Weekly, which is the blog at House Money Media, number 111, we're going to talk about how to house hack a single family without roommates. Because I'm sick of people saying, I'm too old for roommates. Well, we're going to dig into how can you house hack that single family without roommates. If you don't know, you can get this in your inbox by going to housemoneymedia.com/newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. But we're going to talk about how to house hack without roommates because some of you are just too cool for roommates. Now, there's apps now that help you.
Yourself included, Alan. Do you have a roommate or do you count your kids as roommates? And do you charge them rent?
Yeah. I've got 3 kids. That's tough to have a roommate, but I am not opposed. Well, yeah, I'm past that stage, but I wouldn't be in this stage and in this position if I didn't have roommates because my very first house hack was a 1-bedroom apartment that I siphoned off, cordoned off the kitchen with a very heavy curtain. And, you know, this is things you can get away when you're 22. And I turned that into a 2nd bedroom. So roommates got me to where I'm at now, but that's why I'm writing this article because people want to know, how to make income off their primary without roommates.
That's how I started too. I had a single family home and I got a roommate. It was a guy friend that I had lived with in college, and we moved back to our hometown and I bought a house. I was like, hey, do you want to live with me here? So maybe it's a little easier when you're younger. Tom, how old were you the last time you had a roommate?
Sorry, Lauren, I want to jump on that. Apparently you're willing to be paid to live in sin, is what it sounds like.
This was actually a roommate. Actually, it was my college boyfriend's best friend, which doesn't make the story any better, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud.
Jerry Springer's calling.
Oh my God.
Yes,
there it is.
Jerry Springer from the grave. On brand for Alan. I had a roommate up until like 2017, right after I got married, and it was because he was a roommate from a 5 years prior. He was going through a divorce and was a great roommate when I had him the first time, and was a great roommate the second time around, and needed a spot, so we made it work. So it was by default, not out of necessity, but definitely when I started out at 21, it was out of necessity, not default then.
Let's talk about how to find a property with rentable assets besides bedrooms, because that is the catch here. If you're not renting out the bedrooms, what else can you rent out? Well, you can rent out your basement or attic for storage. There's an app called Stash. Rent out your fenced yard for dogs to play in. App called Sniff Spot. Rent out your driveway or parking spot. There's an app for that. Curb Flip. Rent out your flex space for a meeting or a wedding engagement party or some sort of office space. Go to Peer Space for that, or rent out your pool using the app Swimply. There's ways to rent out other assets of your home besides your bedrooms.
Check with your insurance company on all of these. I would not rely on the app's built-in insurance. That's just a little caveat that I'll add there.
Yeah, not a problem. But just know that the name of the game is, how can I make money? How can I reduce your living expenses? A house hack doesn't have to cover your entire mortgage for it to be successful. If it cuts your mortgage in half, you're basically living for half price. Like, that is a win in my book. And that's what I'm trying to teach here, that, every little bit counts.
I recently rented out my basement unknowingly to an Airbnb guest, and they used it to film a true crime doc. So it could be not just creepy things, but entertaining things that you could do in your basement.
Also, Sniff Spot. Come on, who did that?
I mean, I would love, when I lived in the city, like in New York City, it would be great to let my dog run loose, because there just weren't very many options for that. So
Alan's a investor in Sniff Spot, so that's why we are mentioning it here. Alan actually made that.
Not true, but that would be great. Sniff Spot, reach out to us. We'll take your sponsorship. I'm a dog lover. Yes.
I'm also a dog lover, except for on days like today.
And Lauren is a psychopath and doesn't like dogs. So that's...
I'm removing you both from the group chat, and I will just be texting with myself going forward after today.
I grew up with snakes.
And again, more reason to put Lauren on mute as well. She has earned that badge with Alan Corey at this point, because next thing you know, she will be tweeting about snakes and different ways to say finance.
That's like a homeschool move, like pet snakes instead of dogs. Like, I just feel like that's the same category. All right.
I wasn't homeschooled. I went to Catholic school.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That explains a lot, I guess. All righty. I love the option on Zillow, the make me move price, where your house isn't for sale, but for like the right price, it's for sale,
Does that still exist?
Yeah, that's like 2017, Alan.
Well, I miss it, and I liked it back then.
So are we chatting about it in hopes that Zillow is listening and they will bring back that feature?
Well, no, I want this feature to go onto VRBO or Airbnb, where it's a make me vacation price. Sure, it's my primary. I don't want roommates, but if someone wants to pay me $4,000 to rent my house for a week, I will gladly take your money and then go on a $2,000 vacation. That is what I want.
Sayonara.
And I know people who do this successfully, where their house is constantly for rent, and it's usually cheaper for them to go rent somewhere else for the week, even within their own state. But typically they'll fly to Mexico to, have a vacation, and still they're profiting and they're able to create this nomadic lifestyle where they're flying all over the place because their primary is in such high demand and it's covering their vacation travels. So that's a make me vacation price. That's a great way to make money off your assets. Have you guys ever done that?
I don't do that. I think we're going to talk about my strategy. So I'll kick that to Tom.
I have not rented out my primary, but I would be open to it for the right price. And I did just get an inquiry that was like a 6-week inquiry that was like $10,000 booking. And I'll tell you what, it conflicts with a lot of days that I was staying there. And then when I saw that price, I'm like, I don't care. I'll sleep in my damn car for those days if I have to, because that's a lot of money. If they want to pay that to stay there, I'm on board. Sign me up. Yeah.
So here there's a huge movie and film industry in Atlanta. And the way it sort of works is, depending where you are, a director, a big star, you get a stipend for your budget. And many times it's like $20,000, which is super high. And that goes pretty far in LA, but it goes really, really far here in Atlanta. But the thing is, there's not a whole ton of properties that you can, like a single family home, you can rent for a month to 3 months at a time. And if they have a stipend of $20,000 they can spend, if they go find something that's $15,000, it's not like that director gets to pocket that $5,000. It's you either spend $20,000 or you don't. And so every single family house is just $20,000. And it's just, there's 10, they're not great, they're not fancy, but man, that's really good money because the mortgages on these properties are probably $5,000 to $6,000. So yeah, that's my make me vacation price. And I love it. So I'm renovating my house now, but that's definitely going to be my plan to see if I can get some bites at that $20,000 level. And I'll probably just go live in one of my other short-term rentals, which brings us to what I think Lauren was referring to in short shifting, where I shift between my short-term rentals. And Lauren does an excellent job of that, even with an RV in your driveway, where everything is for rent at all times. And you and your husband have a go bag and can kind of sleep wherever the vacancy is. And that's the best way to maximize income. What are some other sort of headaches associated with that we may be missing, Lauren?
The biggest headache up front is the locks. So we have locked furniture, we have locked cabinets in a couple of the different kitchens and locked closets. So there's a little bit of logistics there. It does sound very daunting, and it was at first. But now when that happens, actually we left last week and went and stayed at one of our short-term rentals to do some scalloping. And our place here is not listed yet. It's still under renovation. And my husband was like, it's not as rewarding to be packing up to leave when you're not going to get paid while you're gone, So imagine like somebody's, paying you to pack, basically. You get better at it over time and quicker at it. And we only do it for like at least 6 nights. So basically a week, and we only move, quote unquote, move or short shift on weekends and things like that. But we've been doing that for a couple of years. And at first we meant it to be a kind of occupancy hacking, making sure that the ones that were in the highest demand got booked first. Now we have also, a couple of years into this, seen the value in spending time at our different properties because we're able to see things that we wouldn't see otherwise.
A couple things that I want to touch on. Lauren, didn't you lose the key at one point for your wine cooler or your wine cabinet at one of the houses and you weren't able to get into it? Or am I thinking of someone else? That must have been someone else's tweet. Okay.
I would never
lose the key for the wine cabinet.
Italian wine, by the way. We talked about Italian cabinets last week. Italian wine.
And Italian wine. Okay. So a couple things. I'm on board for this. If they'll pay me enough, I'll get out. I'll move all my stuff. I'll do whatever it takes to make it work, because I am constantly looking at different ways to generate income. And if I can make money from it that way and move into something else or move into one of Alan's crack houses, I'll do that for a week if that brings me enough money to make it worth my time and effort. And yes, when I think of you, Lauren, I thought it was a daunting task. However, I think that for the right amount of money like Alan's proposing, I could definitely work with that and make it work.
Like all money-making ventures, there is some sacrifice to your life. There's some discomfort. There's some struggle involved. No one's just going to give you money without you having to put in a little bit of effort. So save the the screams like, oh yeah, I don't want to move out of my house. That's fine. You said you didn't want to have roommates, and I think roommates are the easiest. But if you don't want roommates, these are some alternative options for you, and more are listed on the House Money Media blog. So subscribe to House Money Weekly at housemoneymedia.com/newsletter, and you're going to get these tips every week in your inbox.
Welcome to the Real Estate is Easy interview segment, and I am joined by Crystal today. Crystal, why don't you tell people a little bit about you?
Hi, everybody. So my name is Crystal Hammond, and I'm a full-time engineer. Been an engineer for 17 short years now because time's definitely flying. But I have some real estate. I'm an investor, so I do have a duplex. I have some vacant lots that I'm developing, and I'm learning how to swim now. I'm in my 40s, and I'm just now taking swimming lessons. So I like biking, long walks on the beach, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you wanted me to take it there, Lauren.
Well-rounded. I love it. So what came first, the duplex or the lots?
The duplex came first, and that actually brought me to the lots.
That's a little bit of a different strategy. We talk at House Money Media about picking your strategy and at least starting with one. I started in single family. I've moved to small multi. What brought you to the lots then and developing?
Sometimes the time picks you. So I always tell people, look out for city programs. The city, so I'm a remote investor. I live in the DC area, but most of my investments are in Chicago, where I'm from. And the city of Chicago had a program, unfortunately, they don't have the program anymore, but they have a program where if you own a property on the same block that there is a city-owned vacant lot, you can buy the lot for $1. Yes, $1. So every time the program comes up, because the first time someone told me about it, well, that's another thing I'd tell people to do. Tell people your goals. People knew that I was into real estate on the side. I do this on the side. And so a friend of a friend was like, hey, tell Crystal that the city has this program. And so when I first found out about the program, they had just closed the applications. And I had to wait 2 years for the next round to open. And then you could apply for 2 lots per address. So that first year, it was like 2 years later, 2017, they had the program, and I jumped on with both feet, and that's how I bought the first 2. It was a city program. So it was like, how can you pass that up? And then when it came open again, I applied for the last 3 lots that were on my block. So the 5th one is pending, but I own 4 vacant lots on the block that I actually grew up on.
Oh, that's an amazing story. And I love your point about making sure that people know that you're a real estate investor. I think we all have stories where that has benefited us. And first of all, make that part of your identity because it is part of who you are now, but also letting people know. So you've bought 4 vacant lots for $1 each?
Yes. And of course, there was some like the recording fee was maybe like $90, but super nominal compared to the full price of actually buying a vacant lot. So yeah, how many years later? I have 5. Well, I'm closing on the 5th one soon. It's the city, so you have to hurry up and wait when you're working with the city. They move at the speed of government. That's what I like to call it.
So the application that you're filling out, is it are a lot of people doing it? It's only people that are on that street, but is there like competition for it? How do you get picked?
There was competition for one of the lots because one of the lots was on the corner. And so they were like, all right, more than one person has applied. It's a lottery. And I was like, I don't play the lottery, but this is the first lottery that I actually hope that I win, but I didn't win it. But there was no one else applying for the lots in my neighborhood. And that's another thing of the being in the know, because a lot of people had no idea about this program. And I would have never known about the program if someone wouldn't have told me about it.
So if someone's listening who wants to find out about these programs, where should they go? Just like their city website or?
The city, yeah. So the planning and urban development, I think that's the official gatekeeper of most of the programs, the housing programs. I know when I first bought my house, I bought a duplex and the city had a landlording class you had to take. So I just made sure I networked with the other people that were in the class and stayed in contact with those people since we were all landlords. and we share different programs that come available through them. But like Twitter, listening to podcasts like this, I feel like there's different ways to learn about different programs. Staying in the know, though, I'm not going to find out about real estate programs if I'm listening to the true crime. I love true crime podcast. If I'm looking for that kind of information, I'm going to surround myself with that kind of information.
I totally could not agree with you more on every front, because I also am a true crime fan. I listen to probably all of them. I listen to 10 true crime podcasts.
Same.
But that's neither here nor there. So what's the plan with these lots then?
So this one has been interesting because since 2017, I've just been happily paying the property taxes and the tickets, because the city will give you tickets if you don't cut the grass. Learned that the hard way a couple of times. But then I don't want to give people this advice. It evened out to, if I would have been paying to get the grass cut, the fine was the same. But don't follow my advice.
I do that math with parking tickets sometimes. I'm like, okay, I go to this beach all the time. It's $5 to park. The ticket's $30. So I'd have to get a ticket every 6
Right.
times.
Yes. And parking garages too. Like if I park let's see, how much is a ticket versus the cost of parking in the garage? You really have to do these numbers, the mental math there. But so I've been paying the taxes and tickets until I met and partnered with other people that are in the development field and in the real estate field. This happened to be a person I went to college with, and then that person knew another person. So it's just been another thing of getting your goals known and out there, because then a friend of a friend is going to connect you, or more listening to people. Because another thing, there are a lot of scamsters out here, especially in the real estate world. So definitely, I think I like having that personal touch of it's a friend of a friend, or because there are some friends you take their advice, and there's other friends that are, oh my God, this person's gullible. I would do the opposite of what that person says. You take it all with a grain of salt and you vet people for yourself, but it ended up being a friend of a friend. We have a team now, so we are going through the process of learning about development. I've been buying books on it, reading books, listening to podcasts on development. And, I'm finding out I have to get the lots rezoned, because a lot of the times they're only zoned for, I think it's like single families. And I want to build some multi-units. So they're going to be fourplexes. And that's another thing to learn. It's you got to get to know your local officials. There it is. Because in Chicago, we have aldermen or alderwomen, alderpersons, and then you actually have to get their blessing before you can get the rezoning. Like the alderman has to sign off, and then you go to the next city council meeting. And I'm not there, so I have a team that's helping me with all that stuff. So I had to hire a lawyer, hiring an architect to do the building, hiring a money person to help with what kind of grants are out there to build housing, what kind of programs are out there, what kind of partnerships we can do. So what kind of problems can I solve in the neighborhood? So this has been a fun learning experience. And you cannot do this alone. I'm not smart enough to do all this stuff. I need a team. I need a group of people who know more than I do. Once a month on Saturdays, there was a real estate roundtable. This was back in the day when all the things were in person. Every week different investors would come and they'd say, hey, I just rehabbed this building at this address. This is what we paid for it. This is how much money we put into it. And this is what we sold or refinanced for. This is like all those HGTV shows, but in real life in 3D. So if there's a group of people in your neighborhood or the target investment neighborhood, then find those meetings so you can see these numbers in real life. Because I love watching HGTV, but they have a camera crew. It seems like they have just unrealistic crew of contractors that just magically make everything appear. And that's not how it happens in real life when you're looking for contractors and all this other fun stuff. We'll call it fun stuff with contractors and real estate and rehabbing, the fixing part.
That's a good point about HGTV. I like it for ideas, but I feel like you just need to realize the numbers are pretty blurry there.
Yeah, unrealistic. You're paying these people. They're actors too.
What are some of the challenges of investing in Chicago when you live in DC?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm not there all the time. So that's why I really lean on the eyes of the neighborhood. Like when something breaks, I don't know. I need you guys to tell, like for the tenants, I need to know ASAP so that I can send someone. And it's been awesome partnering with other people on this other project because I've been able to poach their handymen and their people that they use for different problems. I have an amazing new plumber out of the deal, a new handyman, and a new lawn maintenance person out of this deal. So it's great, like being in the network and being in the know because now when something breaks or something happens, I have people to call. And I also know to just ask questions like, all right, it's more than just collecting rent. It's, hey, what's happening? What's going on? Please let me know. It's not a bad thing to let me know what's going on because that helps you. That takes care of the longevity of the building and everything else. So
And like you said, you can't do everything yourself
no,
anyways.
exactly. I don't want to learn plumbing. I don't want to learn mowing the lawn, like none of that. I don't want to learn any of that stuff. And so I've happily budgeted for everything.
Does being an engineer help you with these projects?
Yes. It actually spills into a lot of areas because another one of my side hustles is sewing. And I can look at something and see exactly how they made it, and then I can replicate it too. So, being an engineer, it's just a natural problem solving. Like, I just want to know the how. Because even swimming lessons, I can't do anything he just tells me. I was like, I need to know the how, I need to know the why. Like, you need to explain this to me. I just can't imitate. There's some things you have to explain it, and then it'll click, and then I can do it. So, it's the why. But I really like figuring out how things work and making it better, tweaking it to my personal taste or to my understanding.
So, what are your goals with real estate? We know you have goals for these particular lots, but what's the ultimate goal for Crystal when it comes to real estate investing?
So, my goal is to show people that, hey, if this girl from the south side of Chicago can invest, you can do it too. A lot of people just don't know that they have that power because the duplex that I bought was actually the place that I grew up in. And I wasn't living there at the time. I was living somewhere else, but it was on sale. My mom still lived in one of the units. And so I knew my friends were in real estate. So I was like, hey, can I go with you to one of your real estate meetings? And they were like, yeah, of course. And so my goal was just to find someone, become their friend, and say, hey, I know that there's this cool building for sale. Will you buy it, but not raise my mom's rent? And you know this, Lauren, when you are in a room of real estate investors, they actually will encourage you to join a team because it's such an amazing team to be on. So this guy was like, why don't you buy the building? And I was like, me? I can't buy real estate. And he's like, well, do you have a job? I was like, yes. And he's like, let's buy this building. And the rest is history. I ended up buying that building and I was just there to solve a problem. And who knew that I was a problem solver, even the development part. I remember after I bought the building, my friends were really proud of me. The people in the meeting were proud of me. And I was in a meeting full of people who were handyman, mortgage broker, a lawyer. I had my whole team to help me with this, my very first transaction. And they were like, and who knows, one day a developer is going to come in and develop that neighborhood, and then your property value is going to skyrocket. And then fast forward, because that was 2005, here we are 2023, and I'm the developer that's coming in to raise property values. I never knew, but I had that power all along. So here we go. The more people you meet, the more podcasts like this you listen to, you're going to hear stories of people doing things and you're like, hey, I can do that. Like I'm in a similar situation or I'm in a similar neighborhood. And then you can find the people, the programs, and the help that you need to make this journey reality.
You said that so well. I don't even think I can react to it. I have a tear in my eye because it's so beautiful. So last question then, Crystal, how do you make real estate easy?
So I make real estate easy by revealing the veil, unveiling how the process is, what I go through. That's why I started blogging years ago, because people were asking me questions and I'm like, the same people are asking the same question. I bet if I just shared this to a wider audience, I can help a lot of other people. I make real estate easy by sharing my stories. And I mean, being very specific, mistakes that I make. Because a lot of people don't realize you learn the most when you make a mistake. Let's hurry up and make these mistakes so that we get the process right, so that we get make the transaction easier and easier every time. So I love bringing people along my journey. Sometimes people say I overshare. I'm like, some of the pictures are blurry because I shared the plans because, I paid so much for these architectural plans and we went back and forth so many times. When they were finally ready, I shared them on Facebook. And they're like, you're giving out too much information. I was like, but they're blurry. But I want people to see that, hey, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Nobody in my family owned real estate. We were renters. We grew up without a car. And then look at me now. If I can make this transition, anybody can make this transition. And I didn't do it by myself. I did it with help, with programs, with guidance. So I'm trying to provide guidance to others that want to be in this field, for others that want to be in real estate. So my plan is to just share as much information as possible and be open, honest, and as available as possible to the next group and the next generation of people that want to join this club. And you can do it at any age. I'm in my 40s. I was in my 20s when I bought my first place. That's a very long hiatus in the middle, but I don't know anything about developing, but I'm jumping in with both feet to learn, and I'm learning from other people. So it's a pay it forward kind of thing. So that's how I'm making real estate easier, by paying it forward and backwards, by just learning and being a sponge.
Where can people follow you to follow along with this journey?
So Condo Crystal, at Condo Crystal. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, and the Stacking Deeds podcast. Lauren, you've been a guest, everybody's been not everybody, but the three of you, the whole show, the House Money crew have been on the show multiple times, and Alan was our co-host.
Well, thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an honor to get to spend some time with you and have you as my guest instead of being yours like I have been in the past.
I really enjoyed myself.
Alan, what did you think about how Crystal makes real estate easy?
I mean, she called us out doing exactly what we're doing. We're sharing our journey and our stories, right? We're trying to make other people's real estate experience easy by us sharing our knowledge and experience, which is what she's doing and has done and continues to do on her podcast. So that is an excellent way. It's share your story. Not only does it make you better in terms of people looking to you as a mentor, bringing you deals, asking you questions that you have to think about, but you're also responding in like kind and helping them because you've earned those stripes to do so and help others be better on their journey.
I have always found that you can learn through teaching as well. Tom, what did you think about what Crystal said?
I love Crystal, and I think that Crystal really didn't get her credit for working with Alan over on Stacking Deeds, because putting up with this guy on a regular basis is a miracle in itself. But I do love that she shared her journey as a renter on the south side of Chicago and now being a property owner. So kudos to Crystal for, one, putting up with Alan, and two, becoming an owner versus a renter. That's an awesome story to be told and an awesome journey to share with others.
I feel like we're in like some kind of meeting and I need to allow Alan a rebuttal before we wrap this one up.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, she definitely carried the show when I was her partner on Stacking Deeds, but now it's good to wear the other side of the cape here and carry this show. So it's the best of both worlds. I get to experience this side of things now.
All right. That does it for the Real Estate is Easy interview segment.
Let's throw it to Jasmine at Jasmine Mortgage Team. Question for the entrepreneurs out there for you today, Jasmine. If you're self-employed like I have, it's a little bit more difficult to get a mortgage. Is there something that they should do to prep to buy their first real estate investment property that would make a lender's life easier? Or let me rephrase that, make them getting a lot of money from a lender easier?
Yes. So when you're self-employed, you may think that, hey, I make, $100,000 a year or $300,000 a year. But if you have a creative CPA, you may be taking a lot of deductions. So as a self-employed borrower, I think having your tax returns reviewed by a mortgage lender early on, especially like if you're just about to file your taxes and you want to have a lender take a look at your previous years, tax returns are really critical when you're self-employed. So knowing how to file, if you take too many deductions, that means that you're going to spend less money on taxes, but you may be shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to getting pre-approved. Because if you take a lot of deductions, that means that we as a traditional mortgage lender, we're looking at your net income. Like, what is it that you report to the IRS that you are making every year? So it's really important to have those and have that looked on early so that you can plan your year ahead, right? For next year or the year after. Another thing when you're self-employed is also being able to potentially work with a mortgage banker, broker that has access to some alternative loan products like bank statement loan programs or 1099 loan programs, things that maybe just you can use as a potential product that will help you qualify. Just because you take a lot of deductions in your business, it does not necessarily mean that you cannot qualify for a mortgage. You can use alternative products.
Yeah, this just goes back to having a relationship with a mortgage lender that you can trust, which we've been working together for 10 years or more at this point, probably. So this is great info, Jasmine. Guys, go to jasminemortgageteam.com, book a call, 15-minute call. Even if you are employed, you don't have to be self-employed. Talk mortgages and see what you can be approved for, and follow her on social media.
At Jasmine Mortgage Team. I look forward to chatting with you guys.
And that concludes today's show.
Or
doesn't
Tea Time with Tom. Alan,
we have another segment.
Why cut me off episode after episode, Alan? We're going to start muting you permanently on the show. It'll be the Lauren and Tom show.
I'm just.
I bet I could. Hold on. Let's just check it. Wait, keep talking, Alan.
I'm just.
Oh, good. He's muted now, which is exactly what we needed. Okay, Tea Time with Tom. I am transitioning. We're towards the end of August. Everyone's getting ready for back to school. This is when real estate starts to cool a little. This is one of my favorite real estate times when the kids go back to school because I know I have less competition. That's not what I'm talking about today, though, on Tea Time with Tom. We can go ahead and unmute Alan now and let him participate in the rest of the conversation. But the reason I bring this up, and I have a resale business and I resell items. I have a lot of regular customers. People are obsessed with collecting things, and people do not consider how much those things weigh them down. Lauren, if you collected like some of my regular customers who come to me week after week and buying things that they don't need, and myself included, I am a big advocate of buying things that I don't need because it makes me feel better. It would not be possible to go around and house hack. So my Tea Time with Tom topic today is, I had this in one of the prior shows earlier in this year, is it necessary? And you need to ask yourself that, not only when you're sending a tweet, which I ask myself that anytime I want to retaliate towards Alan, but is it necessary when I'm buying something? Am I buying this because I have a true need and I need these pants or I need this mug or I need this hat? Or am I buying this to make myself feel better and fill a void? With back to school, a lot of people are doing that shopping right now and they're rebuying things. And I just had a customer come and she wanted a different backpack. Even though she had a perfectly good backpack, she didn't want to carry that same backpack, her daughter this is, to school. And the mom bought it and dropped, I think it was $15 or $20. And dropping that $15 or $20 adds up. It adds up to a down payment on a house or a down payment on a car. So my challenge for you and my question for you both is, are you being mindful when you are shopping outside the house? And are you asking yourself, one, is it necessary? And two, do I already have something that could work?
All right. Well, thanks for unmuting my mic. Now the knowledge bombs can start dropping. I agree with you, Tom. It pains me to say this, but we are aligned here. And this is the reason why I put in my leases, you cannot store anything in the attic or the basement, even though it's completely empty and it can be used for storage. Time and time again, those tenants move out and they've left camping gear and bicycles that are broken and all these sort of knickknacks and novelties that they're like, I don't want to move this to the next house. I'll just leave it for Alan to clean up and I'll pay the fine. And so that is a human trait, just collecting of materials and stuff. As painful as it has been for me, I've moved my primary 3 times in the past 2.5 years. I moved into a fixer-upper, got all the permits and plans, moved out. I'm currently living in short-term rental. I'm about to move back into that whenever it's done, in like 6 months' time. But it requires me to purge, constantly be purging and getting rid of stuff. And I find it so freeing, as much as the joy buying things may bring to you. For me, at least, the purging is a higher ecstasy than the accumulation of goods.
I feel the same way. And when we moved into our home that was at the time 119 years old, there was one closet and it was super small. And so we bought an armoire like back in the day and we added some closets and things like that, but it was still much less storage than we had at our dream home golf course community house with the bigger closets, right? So, and when you're moving often, you're cleaning out. And then we started primary hacking after that. And then we also are house hacking, and then we're also short shifting. And so doing all of that, there's a lot of joy in getting rid of things. And you just realize how much you don't use and how much things are weighing you down. And it's also very freeing. Like, let's say somebody borrows something of mine. Like, let's say my mom or my sister or somebody wants to use like my nicest wine glass. I'm like, okay. I used to be worried. I used to be like, oh, that's my favorite thing. What if it breaks? And then like now I'm like, well, all my tenants, all my guests are breaking my crap all the time. Like I have no attachment to any of my belongings, and it's actually very freeing, and I don't worry about stuff as much as I used to.
I can't wait to take you to the Libby Glass outlet next month in Toledo and show you some of the fun wine glasses from around the world that they will be selling for next to nothing. So we can get you favorite wine glasses in all states.
I'm picturing that store in Sweet Home, Alabama, as you're saying that. You remember that one where he does it with like the lightning glass or whatever? That's how I'm picturing it.
So they have a glass museum right across from the Toledo Museum of Art that they do that kind of exactly what you're describing. Alan is not invited to that. And that is way off topic because we're talking about purging and not bringing on things. And here I am talking about taking you to outlets to buy things. So thank you for leading me down this path.
Well, I own more things than either of you because of all the short-term rentals I own. So it's actually a weird situation where I don't have a lot of stuff that's like mine personally, but I got more bird pictures, fish pictures, wine glasses, and you can furniture, many acorns.
I want to do a quick check on your definition of an armoire. Is that the same thing as a hutch and the same thing as a buffet? What are the differences here, guys?
An armoire is a tall piece of usually pretty tall piece of furniture that you hang clothes in.
Ah, that's a wardrobe.
You could call that a wardrobe, but definitely not a hutch.
A hutch is like the top half of a buffet, right? And the buffet is just like a flat thing that goes in your kitchen.
in your dining room. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that, guys. I never knew the differences.
Learning things day by day here during Tea Time with Tom. Thank you for doing definitions during my segment, Alan. I'll make sure to do definitions during your segment.
It takes a real man to admit that you're uneducated. So good job, Alan.
Yeah.
It's the French. Sorry, I don't speak French, guys.
Author of 3 books.
Barely speaks English, does not speak French.
Definitions during segments of podcast. I love it, Alan.
Yes.
Okay. I will not be sending you any stuff anytime soon, Alan, because I know that it will just detract you more from... Okay, look at Alan's holding up his house money mug right now, which I did send him. So on brand. Lauren, go.
My mug is right there.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand because you wanted to talk. But
okay. All of us keep our mugs on the top of our hutch, as you're doing, Lauren.
That's a bookshelf.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Alan, get it together.
Okay.
Tom, have we covered?
I think we've covered this segment the best that we're going to get for today, which is great. Thank you for joining us, Lauren. You want to wrap this up or mute Alan again? Okay.
I'll wrap it up.
I'm gonna mute both of you and wrap it up. Thanks, guys. The sound of silence because Tom and Alan are muted. That does it for this week's House Money Podcast episode. We hope you guys enjoyed talking about different ways to house hack that don't necessarily involve roommates, even though we've all done the roommate thing before. Crystal's interview was just as good as I thought it was going to be. That story about buying the duplex that her mom lived in was so heartwarming, and I loved it. And then Tea Time with Tom, always good. Lots of zingers back and forth between the three of us. Hope you guys enjoyed this week, and we'll see you next week.